Hey everyone, today I'm going to take you through a balance session. So balance is important for anyone of any age really, so whether you be 70, 80 or even coming back to 50, the better you balance earlier on, the less likely you are to have fall down the track, and also once at any age you don't want to have a fall and risk injury. It's even important for younger individuals to reduce fall and injury as well as if they're into their sports. So today we're just going to run through a simple beginner balance class, beginner to intermediate. I'm going to give you a few variations of each exercise and I want you to choose whichever variation you find slightly challenging. So the first one, we're just going to have our feet apart like this. I suggest you do it in front of a bench, something you can grab onto if you start to lose your balance. I'm not going to for the sake of this video, so you can see what I'm doing. But for the easier option here, we're going to have feet apart like this and just balancing here. We can make that slightly more difficult by slowly looking side to side or up and down or closing our eyes. If you still find that quite easy, bring your feet together and then the same three options. So just staying still, eyes open, slowly looking side to side, up and down, or eyes closed. So I'm going to hold this for about 30 seconds. So find your preference and we'll start now. So I'm going with the eyes closed one. I find that a bit more challenging. Yep, keep going. Keep going, another 10 seconds. Good work. Now just getting into a stable stance. We're going to make this a bit more challenging. So we're going to come 1 foot forward. So the easy option is foot off the side like this, but your heel is in line with your toe. But you can just have a bit of a gap. Make it a bit more challenging so they're just touching, or slightly more difficult so your heel's directly in front of your toe like that in a tandem stance. Try to put as much weight through the front leg as there is the back leg. So we'll start with our right leg forward, come into whichever variation you want. As much weight through the front as there is the back. And we're just going to stand here, eyes open, and just balance. Once again, we're going to aim for about 30 seconds. You'll hopefully feel lots of little muscles in your feet working, trying to balance and keep you upright. Now we're going to switch our feet around. Right foot back, left foot forward, or the other way around if that's how you're doing it. The 3 variations, in front like that, so the toe and heel are just touching, or right in front, wherever you find challenging. Do it once again in front of a bench, as much weight on the front leg as there is the back as you balance. So I actually find this way a bit harder than when I was the other way around. And often we do have one side which we find easier than the other, that's normal. and slowly coming out of it. Now we're going to do that again one time each side, but we're going to add a slight variation. So we're taking our eyes out of it now a bit. So whichever variation, you might need to make it slightly easier option than the one before for the foot positioning. And once you're in that position, bringing your right foot forward, whether it be heel to toe, just off the side or slightly wider, find your balance. Once you're there, slowly looking side to side. Or even more of a challenge, eyes closed. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds. So you might see me wobbling here a bit with my eyes closed. So it's quite challenging. If you come out, eyes open, hands on the table, and just set up again for the remainder of the time. We'll go for another 10 seconds. Okay, stopping there, switch your feet around, same thing on the other side, whichever variation you want, and then as much weight on the front leg as there is the back, and then one of two options, slowly looking side to side, or closing your eyes. Another about 30 seconds. Good work. And bringing your eyes open. Standing comfortably. Now, for this one you'll need your bench. What we're going to do, we're going to just practice standing on one leg. So this might be quite hard for some people. The way you do it, you have your fingertips on the bench, you lift one foot up, then you try to lift your hand up, just hovering off the bench. And if you start to feel you need to, just gently tap the bench again, regain your balance, and then try and lift your hands up again. So we're aiming for longer periods between touching the bench. But we're going to do about 30 seconds each side. If you find this one particularly easy, you can come back to standing on one leg and looking side to side. But we'll begin now, starting on our left leg, lifting the right foot off the ground, hands on the table, and then lift your hands, hovering them there, and just try to balance as long as you can. Good work. Placing the right foot back down. We're going to do the same on the other side. So holding onto the bench, shift your weight to the right foot, lifting the left foot off the ground, and then lift your hands up, and we're going to do this for 30 seconds. Once again, if you come out, just slowly come straight back in and just do it for the remainder of the time. But starting now. Good work. Slowly coming out. Shaking your legs if you need to. So all of those positions was static balance. So essentially we're just standing still. There was a bit of head movement in some of them if you were doing that, but our actual legs are staying still. So now we're going to practice working on dynamic balance a bit. So getting a bit of movement through there while still trying to maintain our balance. So the first one, I want you to take whichever variation you're at. I suggest in front of a table. If you're slightly more advanced, you don't necessarily need the table, but your feet might be wide, nice and supported, together, heel to toe like before, or standing on one leg. But what we're going to do in this position, you're trying to reach out as far as you can and coming back up. Just directly in front of you, each hand, back up to the side at about 45 degrees, the other direction, back up, right to the side beside you, the other side, and again, straight in front of you, both hands out at about 45 degrees. You're really trying to get as far away from your body as you can whilst keeping your balance. If your hips and back and all that's moving, that's fine. We're going to do 2 more rounds of that. So if you were doing heel to toe or on one leg, just switch sides and we'll do the other side. So reaching one hand forward, coming back up. And so it's a lot more challenging doing it heel to toe. Reaching the other hand forward, back up, out at 45 degrees. And the other side, directly to the side, and the other side. One more time, forward one hand, forward the other, 45, out to the side, and the other side. Now, coming back to the middle. Now the next one, rather than using the hand, we're going to aim to balance on the one leg and move the other leg. I'm just grabbing something. So some of you might find this particularly challenging. If that's so, just grab anything stable. It can be one of those exercise steps. I'm just using a bucket of putty here, whatever you've got lying around. Make sure you're next to your table so you can hold on. Try to do it without holding on if you need to. 1 finger touching the table, 2 fingers, or if you really need the hand, that's fine, but trying to use your hand as little as possible, if at all. So this is the easier option. You stand on your left foot, you lift your right foot, tap the top very lightly, and then come back. And again. You can make that slightly more challenging by tapping the top, and then very gently touching the ground and going again, or not touching the ground at all. Just practice whichever variation you're at. We're going to do about 12 each side. Unfortunately I wasn't counting, so I'm going to do 2 more, and then we're going to switch sides. So shifting your weight to the right leg, you can also make this a bit more challenging by making it a bit further away. Reaching out, gently tapping with the left foot and coming back, foot on the ground. Gently tapping, coming back, even if you're able to not put the foot on the ground. and 12 of this side. So just remember, choose whichever variation you find challenging but achievable. Good work. Now you can put that off to the side. This is a bit more challenging again. If you found that hard enough, we can leave it there for today. If you're up for an extra challenge, try this one, and this will be the last thing we do. Similar to that one, we're practicing standing on one leg and moving the other. But if you imagine there's a clock face on the ground around you, so 12's directly in front of you, then 1, 2, 3, all the way around, back up to 12. And what you do, you reach out with one leg as far as you can, keeping your balance, then bring it back to the other foot and slowly make your way around the clock. So we're going to start on our left leg. So stand on your left leg, reach the right foot as far forward as you can to 12. 1. Notice I am still moving my left leg, that's okay. 2 to 3 to 4, 5, 6, this is where it gets tricky, 7, 8, and then 9 directly behind you. If that one's too much, you can leave that out. 10, you see I don't go quite as far when it's across the body, makes it a bit harder. 11, and back up to 12. That's one leg. You're going to do the same on the other side. We'll do it in reverse, so 12 working back counterclockwise. So stand on your right leg, left leg forward as far as you can. Try not to touch the ground if you're able to. If you need to touch the ground between each, that's okay. So I'm on 9 now. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. I am using my hands to counterbalance. That's okay if you do that as well. 3, 2, 1. And finishing on 12. Good work if you achieved that one. If you didn't, that's something you can build up to. But really good work getting involved today. I'm going to post another video which will be even more difficult balance for those that have good balance. We're looking more at advanced exercises. If you found this session quite challenging, I suggest you try do this session somewhat regularly, 2 to 3 times a week, or you find 1, 2, 3 exercises you find difficult and do them on a daily basis. That can be as simple as even just practice standing on one leg while the kettle boils or while you're waiting for your toast. It's really easy to implement your balance exercises into your everyday living. Alright, thanks guys, and I'll see you soon.